Please welcome Board Chair of the California Museum, Anne Marie Petrie.
The 19th Annual California Hall of Fame. I am just filled with joy to finally get here. It's taken me 19 years to finally get on here. But I'm here, and I'm full with joy, and had some eye surgery, so bear with me. But on behalf of the California Museum, welcome. Tonight, we honor individuals who have reinforced California's reputation as a land of achievement. They've taken the California dream and made it a reality, turning the extraordinary into the Golden State standard. The legacy of California is written by those who show up when it was difficult, who innovated when it wasn't popular, and who built the communities that help people thrive. And tonight, we're not just celebrating what these individuals achieved, we're celebrating the spirit that made it possible in the first place. I'd like to start by acknowledging some special guests in the audience. I don't see Eleni. Hi, Eleni. Kounalakis, her father is one of the first people that welcomed me and my husband to Sacramento. Members of the governor's staff and cabinet, other administrative officials, distinguished guests and friends, and previous Hall of Fame inductees and their families. Orlean Bloom, scientist and mountaineer, member of the 12th class. I don't see her. Can't see very well, guys. Gina Schock and Jane Weedland of the Go-Go's. Members of the 17th class. Lisa Demetrios, granddaughter of legendary designer Ray and Charles Eames, members of the 7th class. And Victoria Yeager, wife of the late aviation great General Chuck Yeager, member of the 4th class. They're all here, yes. And also joining us tonight are representatives of the 18th class of inductees who will be recognized later in the program. Over the past year, the California Museum opened a fully redesigned California Hall of Fame exhibit, presented a range of temporary exhibits and public programs celebrating the state and its people, and welcomed 50,000 children on field trips and presented virtual programming that reached students across the state. We're proud of that. That's what we're all about. We're able to do this important work because of tonight's sponsors, and thank you all for your support. I'd especially like to acknowledge the title sponsor, California Resource Corporation, and presenting sponsors, KD's and Visit California, along with PG&E, Pharma, and Southern California Edison. And I have to make a shout out to Donna Lucas, who has been with us from the beginning. So Donna, wherever you are, I love you. I also want to acknowledge my colleagues on the Museum Board of Trustees. Will you please stand up or wave your hand so we can see you? I'd like to recognize museum volunteers and staff who dedicate themselves to our mission of education all year, including Executive Director Amanda Meeker and her entire team. Wait. I want to take this opportunity. Amanda is retiring after 3 decades. Yes, I know. With the California Museum, I want to personally thank her. The board thanks her. The state thanks her for the work in this museum. Your leadership and your vision has gotten us here in the last 30 years. So thank you, Amanda, wherever you are. Okay, yes. Can't see a darn thing, but I'm happy. But we love you, obviously. And finally, I want to thank the Governor's and First Partners teams, especially Becker Prouder, okay, for all the effort you're in making tonight so special. And you outdo yourself every year, and we're honored to partner with you in the celebration of California. So thank you, Becker, and your team. And now, It always gives me goosebumps. It is my great pleasure to introduce tonight's hosts, whose partnership and support we truly are grateful for, and whose visionary leadership has brought the California Hall of Fame to new heights. And I've been here a long time, so when I say new heights, I mean new heights. So please welcome Governor Gavin Newsom and first partner Jennifer Siebel Newsom.
Very regal music. Thank you all very much for being here, and to those past inductees, it's always special to have you here and your family members. To each and every one of you make this evening possible. Thank you to the board of directors, Amanda and Marie, and to all the folks that worked hard to get you all here and to support the cause that unites each and every one of us, which at the end of the day fundamentally is around excellence, celebrating excellence. I say this all the time because it needs to be repeated. There's no other state that attaches itself to the dream. There's the American dream and the California dream. No other state in the United States can lay claim to that. And that's special. That's unique. Anne-Marie used the word spirit. I'll add the word pride. To members of the legislature, Lieutenant Governor, I think you all can appreciate this. You can't legislate that. There's no bill number attached to spirit and pride. That comes from the energy and daring of people that live their lives out loud, that are fully expressive in whatever profession, whatever avocation that defines them. And no other state can lay claim to more of these dream makers than the great state of California. So it's a point of deep pride that we continue this tradition, that we carry that baton that was handed over, the torch perhaps from 3 administrations, and we look forward to a year or so from now, the next administration continuing this, and there is no third term here, so continuing, though I do have a Patriots site that does have a 2026 hat, but that's an aside. But I want to just to stand aside now and really thank my wife for taking this to a whole nother level. She's been very mindful of what's been missing in the past. She's been very mindful of what we should be celebrating, not just tolerating in this state, in terms of promoting contributions for people that often are overlooked. The folks that aren't necessarily, in your algorithm and in your feed, that are doing extraordinary things, making incredible difference each and every day all across this state. So it is my great honor, since I got an easy job tonight, I'm the Vanna White of the evening, to introduce to you the first partner of the state of California, Jennifer Siebel.
Good evening, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here in the spectacular California Museum to finally induct our 18th and 19th classes into the California Hall of Fame. I know this has been long in coming, and we are thrilled to host you all tonight. Each year, as was mentioned, the governor and I have the pleasure of honoring a new class of individuals who, through their creativity, leadership, and advocacy, have embodied the Golden State spirit. We'd like to begin tonight by recognizing our incredible 18th Hall of Fame class. For the first time in the history of the California Hall of Fame, the class is entirely composed of women. While they may no longer be with us, their trailblazing work has challenged societal norms, broken glass ceilings, and transformed California and the world. As a young woman in Pasadena, Julia Child had little interest in cooking, but she did have a powerful taste for adventure. She joined the Office of Strategic Services during World War II and later married fellow officer Paul Child. After the war, they moved to Paris, where Julia began taking cooking lessons at Le Cordon Bleu. Upon graduating, Julia and 2 French friends published Mastering the Art of French Cooking, a work widely credited with reviving American interest in cooking.
I'm Julia Child. Welcome to the French Chef and the first show on our series.
Julia's ebullient personality was made for television, and through The French Chef, her distinctive voice entered American homes.
You just have to have the courage of your convictions, particularly.
Her ease and naturalness gave American home cooks the courage to experiment in the kitchen, and her long string of television programs would win numerous awards. Today, the Julia Child Foundation for Gastronomy and the Culinary Arts continues her legacy, encouraging people to cook, eat, and drink well. Ina Coolbrith moved to Los Angeles from the Midwest as a child in 1852. She began composing poetry at age 11, and soon her poems were being published in newspapers. When Ina moved to San Francisco, she fell in with a literary crowd, including the writers Bret Harte, Joaquin Miller, and Mark Twain. Ina began regularly contributing poems to Overland Monthly, a magazine that helped raise California's literary profile. In 1874, Ina took a job running Oakland's library, a post she would keep for the next 19 years. After returning to San Francisco, she lost an autobiographical manuscript in the earthquake and fire of 1906. Ina never returned to the work, hinting that its revelations about her intimate relationships would cause a scandal. In 1919, Ina's status as California's first poet laureate was made official by the state legislature, an honor she held until her death at 86. Filipina-American diver Victoria Manalo Draves didn't have an easy path to Olympic gold. She came to diving late because her family couldn't afford lessons, and her race limited her opportunities at San Francisco swimming and diving clubs. Vicky's husband and diving coach, Lyle Draves, often said that Vicky had gold written all over her. But to compete at the highest level, they knew she would have to relearn the fundamentals of the sport. So together, they began a program of intensive training that resulted in 4 national titles through 1948. Vicky was not expected to beat the top women divers in London, but she performed magnificently in the final competition. She became the first American woman to win 2 gold medals in diving and the first Asian American woman to win Olympic gold. Vicky Manalo Draves was inducted into the International Swimming Hall of Fame 25 years after she dove into Olympic history and the hearts of sports fans everywhere. Mitsue Endo was living a normal life in Sacramento when the attack on Pearl Harbor created a panic over what many presumed to be the mixed loyalty of Japanese Americans. As the war escalated, the government began rounding up Japanese Americans on the West Coast and isolating them in camps. While Mitsue was imprisoned near Sacramento in 1942, she was approached by attorney James Purcell, who was suing the U.S. government on behalf of the Japanese Americans. Purcell needed an ideal plaintiff, and he found one in Mitsue, who had never even been to Japan. Mitsue refused release while her petition worked its way to the Supreme Court, which ruled in her favor in December 1944. With the case decided, the government proclaimed that loyal Japanese Americans could return home. Mitsue's sacrifice brought a measure of justice to 120,000 Americans whose freedom had been taken from them. In the mid-1960s, Bay Area native Diane Fossey moved to Rwanda, where she set up the Karasoke Research Camp to study and protect mountain gorillas. Her work helped change our negative image of these gentle giants who share much of our social behavior. In 1983, she published Gorillas in the Mist, about her years in the jungle with her community of mountain gorillas. The book became an international bestseller and an Academy Award-nominated film. Shortly after returning to her research camp in 1985, Diane was murdered. The mystery of her killing has never been solved, but her legacy is without question. The Diane Fossey Gorilla Fund continues the research and conservation work Diane started, and the gorilla population she studied has more than doubled.
Alice Piper was 15 years old when a new public high school opened in her community of Big Pine, California. She was denied admission because Native American children from her local Paiute tribe were expected to attend a nearby all-Indian school. Alice and her family sued the school district, saying the Indian school lacked the resources to provide the same quality of education as the new school. In 1924, the California Supreme Court ruled in her favor, making it illegal in California for public schools to bar Native children. The case was also cited as a precedent when the U.S. Supreme Court ruled against racial segregation of schools in the landmark Brown v. Board of Education case of 1954. In 2024, a statue of Alice was placed at the entrance to Big Pine High School, where students are now greeted each day by the face of the girl who would not be denied. In a 1960s pop landscape dominated by demure girl groups, Tina Turner's raw vocals and explosive choreography stood out. Her act caught the attention of star-making producer Phil Spector, who signed Tina and her husband Ike to his label and produced their first hit single, River Deep, Mountain High. But Ike and Tina's relationship was not what it appeared on stage. Ike was abusive, and in 1976, Tina found the courage to leave. Tina Turner continued as a solo artist, but largely failed to break through during the eras of disco and punk, until 1984, when her chart-topping album, Private Dancer, once again made her one of the biggest stars in American music. Inducted twice into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Tina Turner will always be remembered as the queen of rock and roll and an inspirational figure for women around the world.
Please can the loved ones of this stellar class stand as we honor these incredible women and their lasting legacy. Bravo. Now, when I think about the inductees of the 19th class, I'm reminded of their strong ties to Los Angeles, an incredible engine of creativity and culture across our state, from literature to music, gastronomy to sports, social sciences to politics. So much of California's strength stems from Los Angeles. And this past year truly tested Los Angeles' spirit with the 2025 firestorms that ravaged LA County. Yet despite that loss and devastation, Angelenos and Californians broadly continue to show up for one another, demonstrating the resilience and strength of our greater California community. So tonight, as we celebrate our extraordinary inductees, many with deep ties to the City of Angels, we are also honoring a state that continues to rise like the phoenix against all odds, our beloved California. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in welcoming the 19th class of the California Hall of Fame.
Representing legendary legislator John L. Burton, his daughter, Kamiko Burton. World-renowned chef and restaurateur Nobuyuki Matsuhisa. One of the greatest distance swimmers of all time, Janet Evans. Track and field superstar Carl Lewis. Academy Award-winning actress and activist Jamie Lee Curtis. The first all-women mariachi ensemble in the U.S., Mariachi Reina de Los Angeles. pioneering social system scientist, Rianne Eisler. And also being honored tonight, but not able to join us, acclaimed and award-winning author Terry McMillan, and bodybuilder, actor, and the 38th Governor of California, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
So before we launch into our inductees who represent the very best of California, we pause to honor a truly special individual whom we are immensely proud to induct posthumously this evening, John L. Burton. Many of our lives have been touched in some way or another by the legendary John Burton, including my own husband's. A giant in California politics, John devoted his life to shaping a better future for all Californians. With candor and conviction that were simply unmatched, John couldn't get through a conversation without sprinkling in a few F-bombs. Or telling you how he really felt, whether you wanted to hear it or not. But that bluntness was part of what made him so effective. A native San Franciscan, John graduated from San Francisco State College and also earned a law degree from San Francisco University. After college, John dove headfirst into politics, beginning to make his name as one of the last liberal lions. From serving in the California State Assembly to Senate President pro tem to the U.S. Congress, he was a fierce champion for the poor, the overlooked, and the underserved. After his political career, he founded John Burton Advocates for Youth, or JBAG, one of his most enduring legacies. Through his foundation, he expanded housing and education for former foster youth and extended their opportunity for care to age 21. California is a stronger, fairer place because of John. Please join us in welcoming someone who John loved more than anyone else, his daughter, Kimiko Burton, to accept this award in his honor.
Thank you. Here's my dad. So I got in, or my dad got into the 19th class because by the time, or at the time that the governor, so we grew up together, so he's Gavin to me, but I know he's the governor. When the governor made the decision to induct him, and my dad said, I was also told I can't swear. For those of you who don't know, my dad was a big swearer. In fact, he exchanged F-bombs routinely with a lovely lady in white. So Willie Brown was inducted before my dad, and I know Gavin heard a lot. I mean, a lot about that. So my father was still alive when the decision was made. He passed about 6 months ago, and I know how thrilled that he would have been to be here as, I think, the lone representative in this class from Northern California. No disrespect to the Angelinos. Northern California, thank you. He would have been so honored to have been inducted by the son of one of his best friends. My dad and Gavin's dad grew up together, which is why we grew up together. And so this would have been personal for him, not political. And one of his closest friends, Jamie, is here. His other good friend, Arnold. My dad didn't smoke cigars. He smoked cigars with Arnold. But the most important thing to him would have been to be here honoring the work that he did on behalf, they used to say back in the day, the poor, the blind, and the disabled. And now it's for those who don't have as much as we do. And with respect to foster youth being able to stay in the system until 21, which people thought, what a ridiculous handout. He always said, my kid wasn't out of my pocket at 18. True story. And these young people don't have anybody's pockets to be in. And so we ought to give a hand up to people, to lift people. So thank you to Gavin. Thank you to Jennifer. And here's to the 19th class. And thank you.
As a little girl growing up in Fullerton, California, Janet Evans imagined herself on the world's biggest stage with her sights set on the Olympics. By age 13, she won her first national title. A few years later, Janet stunned the international swimming competition, breaking world records in the 400, 800, and 1500 meter freestyle, becoming the first woman ever to hold 3 world records simultaneously. And at just 16 years of age, at the Summer Olympics in Seoul, she delivered a performance for the ages, 3 gold medals, including an insane 800-meter freestyle victory and a 400-meter freestyle world record. Woo! And then in the 1992 Olympic Games, Janet made history yet again, becoming the first woman to defend her 800-meter freestyle Olympic title. My head is swimming with all of these records. Over her career, no one could match her talent for nearly 2 decades, a testament not only to her athletic dominance, but to her lasting impact on the sport. And then Janet inspired a whole new generation with an extraordinary comeback at age 40, competing once again at the 2012 Olympic trials. As a former student athlete and now a mom to young athletes, I understand the slippery slope between competition and play. Janet's decades-long swimming career illustrates how she redefined success over time, uplifting the joy of sport and community. Most recently, Janet has been honored in the International Swimming Hall of Fame and the U.S. Olympic Hall of Fame, and today as Chief Athlete Officer of the 2028 Summer Olympics, where she is preparing for the return of the Games to her hometown, helping to inspire the next generation of youth athletes. Janet embodies the very best of California, its resilience, its grace, and its heart. Please join me in celebrating a true GOAT, Janet Evans.
Another medal.
Well, thank you, Mr. Governor and First Partner. It's truly an honor to be here this evening and with all of these esteemed honorees. It's been fun getting to know all of you, and it's very humbling, right? Because to me, I'm just a girl that grew up in North Orange County who likes to swim. And so the idea that I can be here with this amazing group of people celebrating our state and being a part of that celebration is really incredible to me. So I think for me, when you think about the Olympics and you think about California, there is no greater place for the Olympic Games than the state of California. So I think we should all celebrate that we are bringing the Games back. The Games back to California for the 3rd time. I did a little research this morning on ChatGPT, although my sophomore in high school doesn't use it ever. California as a country, if we had been a country in Paris last summer in 2024, we would have placed 10th in the medal count. So that's a pretty incredible stat about our state. But for me personally, this journey is very full circle. My journey started in 1984, sitting in the Coliseum at opening ceremonies, watching that man run. And I still fangirl over him, even though he's a good friend. I decided in '84, for those of you who were there, it was magical. And there was like fairy dust sprinkled over the city of Los Angeles. And that was what inspired me. And I was supported in this state for so much of my career. I went to school at Stanford, transferred to SC, and graduated from SC, and swam and trained and was educated in this great state. And this state made me who I am. But one of the greatest parts about being a Trojan and being at SC was that every morning before I swam 10 miles, we ran from the campus to the Coliseum. And every day I got to look at that majestic Coliseum that was built for the 32 Olympics. And then I would go to USC football games, and I would stay at the third quarter and watch the cauldron be lit. And I remember every time I ran by that stadium, or when I sat in that stadium, I would say to myself, one day we're going to bring the Olympics back. We're going to have the Olympics here again. We're going to sprinkle that fairy dust over our great city of Los Angeles once again, and we're going to inspire a whole new generation. So for me as an Olympian, the medals are great, the honors are great, but bringing the games home, bringing the games back to Los Angeles and inspiring everyone is really serendipitous for me and my greatest honor. So thank you again for this. It's an honor. Thank you.
A young Terry McMillan was stocking bookshelves at her local library in Port Huron, Michigan, when she first fell in love with literature. But it was here in California, at UC Berkeley, where her voice began to take shape and her stories soared. Terry studied journalism and also immersed herself in African American literature. She began writing stories that enveloped the full humanity of Black women's lives, their relationships, their heartbreaks, their families, their ambitions. And through it all, she underscored that sisterhood is central to life. Yes. Something I wholeheartedly agree with. In 1987, her debut novel, Mama, soared off the shelves despite a lack of promotional support from her publisher. However, Terry took matters into her own hands, writing to thousands of bookstores, colleges, and news stations, eventually selling out her first printing of 5,000 copies, a testament to her incredible determination against all odds. Mama went on to earn a coveted American Book Award and Doubleday New Voices in Fiction Award. And then came Waiting to Exhale. With that groundbreaking novel, Terry topped the New York Times bestseller list and created a cultural touchstone for so many, telling the story of 4 women navigating love and life. Terry showed us that friendship can become a sanctuary when all else fails. Transcending generations and experiences, Mere Women's Bonds inspired a film adaptation starring Whitney Houston and Angela Bassett and won 7 Grammys and an MTV Movie Award. From How Stella Got Her Groove Back to A Day Late and a Dollar Short to her most recent, It Was the Way She Said It, Terry continues to deliver stories that center resilience and vulnerability, all the while selling millions of copies worldwide and expanding those stories to the big screen and small. So while she is unable to be here with us tonight, let's give a huge round of applause to this fierce champion for women, a literary force, Terry McMillan. Born in Vienna, Austria, our next inductee's life began in the shadows of a dark chapter in world history. Rianne Eisler and her parents miraculously escaped Nazi territory in 1939, though most of her extended family were murdered during the Holocaust. From this unimaginable loss, Rianne forged a lifelong commitment to understanding the roots of violence and inequality. Through her groundbreaking whole systems research, Rianne, who earned a bachelor's and JD at UCLA, offered new perspectives and practical tools for building a more equitable, gender-balanced, and sustainable society. The resounding theme across all of her work, partnership. Something we Californians and our office know a little bit about. Rianne recognizes that partnership is key to a lot of challenges facing our world. That in order to strategically solve a problem, we need to bring a variety of perspectives and experiences to the table, and most importantly, those of women. As president of the Center for Partnership Systems and editor-in-chief of the Interdisciplinary Journal of Partnership Studies, Rianne has turned her vision for a more peaceful future into action. Pioneering the application of human rights standards for women and children, she addressed the United Nations, inspiring countless leaders and advocates worldwide. Rianne may be even more well-known for having influenced generations with her writing. The Chalice and the Blade transformed how we understand our cultural history from a gender lens. In the book, Rianne's words gracefully uplift the symbolic chalice, representing the strong feminine values associated with nurturing, sustaining, and restoring society. On the other hand, the blade symbolizes power over others, which is rooted in fear and domination. Through this exercise of symbolism, Rianne narrates how a model of partnership, one where 51% of the population is directly involved in decision-making, will ensure a safer, more innovative, and peaceful world. Her next work of art, The Real Wealth of Nations, challenged us to redefine economics to value care, community, and nature. And most recently, in Nurturing Our Humanity, she demonstrates how the patterns we learn in our families shape our brains, our institutions, and ultimately, our futures. Rianne. You're such a hero. Your life's work remains, it reminds us that a more just and caring world is well within our power to create. And California is immensely proud to honor a visionary thinker and tireless advocate like yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating the Honorable Rianne Eisler.
Well, as you can see, I'm almost 95. I'm 94. So, thank you. You'll forgive that I brought this paper because my memory, except for my work, is not what it used to be. So first of all, I want to thank, well, the first partner, Jennifer Siebel Newsom, where did you go? And Governor Gavin Newsom for this honor, which I accept with much gratitude. And on behalf of my children, my grandchildren, and my late husband, David Loy, with whom I had the great gift of a true partnership for 45 years. As Jennifer said, I grew up as a small child in Vienna, but when the Nazis came, almost overnight, I became hunted with license to kill. And my mother's courage, which I observed, and her ingenuity saved our lives. And we eventually found our way to Cuba, where I grew up, and then to California, which has been my beloved home, to quote Jennifer, for many years, first in Los Angeles, where as an attorney, I worked hard to change discriminatory laws and advocate for equal rights for women. But it was my early experiences that shaped the central questions of my life's work. Is humanity innately violent and selfish? Is domination our inevitable destiny? And much later, my whole systems interdisciplinary research answered those questions with a resounding no. It is not inevitable. We are capable of something better. In fact, as archaeology, myths, even DNA evidence shows, through millennia of prehistory and in communities all around the world today, there has been and is another way, a partnership way grounded in mutual respect, in caring for one another, and yes, in caring for our Mother Earth. That is my vision for the world, for our country, and for our wonderful California, which has long been a place where bold ideas can take root and grow. The future is in our hands. My work, and increasingly that of others, shows that we have been navigating history with half a map and one eye closed. That the story we have been told about human nature is wildly incomplete, that the truth is ours to tell. Again, I thank you so much for this honor, which I will carry with me always. Thank you. You are wonderful. You are exemplified.
Our next inductee is yet another incredible California athlete who also dominated the Olympics, earning titles like World Athlete and Olympian of the Century. The son of two track and field stars, Carl Lewis quite literally grew up in the long jump pit, building sandcastles while his mother coached nearby. Fast forward to the end of high school in 1979, and he was already ranked among the top long jumpers in the world. Carl went on to compete at the University of Houston, winning NCAA championship titles in the long jump and the 100-meter dash. And in 1984, he finally made his Olympic debut in Los Angeles, sweeping the long jump, 100-meter dash, 200-meter dash, and the 4x100-meter relay. He went on to win 9 Olympic gold medals across 4 Olympic Games, along with 8 World Championship titles and multiple world records. His dominance in the long jump remains unparalleled. 65 consecutive victories over the course of a decade and 4 consecutive Olympic gold medals. Not to mention his indoor long jump world record from 1984 still stands today. After retiring from competition, Carl landed in Los Angeles, dabbled in acting, and devoted himself to service. He launched the Carl Lewis Foundation and also served as a United Nations Goodwill Ambassador. Today, he continues mentoring student athletes as a coach at his alma mater, the University of Houston. Carl Lewis represents excellence, not only in performance, but also in character and commitment to future generations of track stars and athletes alike. Carl, we are thrilled to honor you tonight. Please come on up here.
You never had one of these.
Well, I didn't think I was going to get any more. You know, I was sitting there in the last couple of weeks or so thinking about what I would talk about. And then as I was sitting listening to all the stories, I was inspired to talk about something completely different. You know, I was born in Birmingham in 1961. And as you know, that was still during Jim Crow laws and things going on. And so our dinner table stories were from my parents working actively in the civil rights movement in Birmingham and in Montgomery. My mother knew Rosa Parks and Dr. King, and we were very close. Of course, I was small. But those are the stories I heard growing up. And then we moved to New Jersey, and my mother was a pretty strong woman, you know, wonderful woman, wonderful parents, but she was a strong woman. And so she was a physical education teacher and a track coach, but they wouldn't put track and field in to the school for the girls. She kept complaining that boys had a track team, but the girls didn't have a track team. So finally she decided in 1969, I'm gonna start my own girls track team. And so she started this team with 8 girls in 1969. In 1970, the boys joined. As I say, the rest is history. Well, the first major high school age group track meet I was just 1974, I was 13, was in Pasadena. And I'll never forget, we came out all the way to California. We had to raise money. We had this little board. We went around raise money with nickels. Can you believe it? But that was the beginning. And there was a guy in that track meet named Dwayne Evans, and he went to the 76 Olympics. He was 17 at the time at the Olympics. And I was like, wow, I met someone at the Olympics that's in the Olympic Games. And I was 14 watching, 15 rather, watching the 76 Olympics. And I saw someone that had been to the Olympics. And it was just so thrilling. And me, I was a very late bloomer, and it took a long time for me to really develop. So I never thought that I'd, turn out anything athletic. And then in 80, it just, things exploded. And the thing that makes this day so special for me, because, when I lived here in California, people, would tell me, yeah, you lived over in so-and-so, you went to this high school and everything. And I'm like, I haven't lived here my whole life, but it's so special. I did live here quite some time. And being with the Santa Monica Track, I didn't think I was here the whole time. But, when Janet talked about the 28 Olympics, it's very, very special to me. First of all, I never wanted to be a coach. And I think this is going live, so all of you kids, I didn't want to coach you. But I went out to volunteer one day, and then I wanted to get more involved, and then things evolved, and now I'm the head coach. We have a kind of a co-head coach. And one day my brother said something, and he's like, damn, you just became dad. Because my parents coached this club every year, and our summers were not at vacations, they were at track meets. Our winters sometimes, and Christmases were not as full because, my parents were spending money in the summer. And a lot of people think that was a dysfunctional life when you live in New Jersey and you never go to the shore. But we were a family, we were together, and all my friends did that, and that's the life that we knew. And so what makes this special is that when in '84, I rented a house for the whole family because for security reasons, I couldn't stay in the village at the time. And there's this one really special video because my father was the cameraman and we never had shots of him. And so there's this one video in 100 meters that was shot during the games, and I just saw them in the stands, just the two of them. And it's like the only thing I have a video of my father. And it was from the '84 Olympics, just one little snippet. And when he passed away a couple of years later, it was a special moment because that was the only Olympic Games we were together as a family. So when they announced that the Games would be back in, the Games will be back in LA in 2028, it was a far deeper meaning for me. Number one, I can go back to where our family was together again. And number two, I'll have a chance to go back there and take some kids just like my coach took me. So California will always be a very, very special part of my life. The most important times of my life happened in this state. And I have so many friends and relationships here. And so this is such an honor. I want to thank you, Governor. I want to thank you because, you know, as you get older and go through all these things, you think people kind of forget you. You know, like, yeah, we know you, Carlos, but they kind of forget what you did and what you do and who you are, especially these young kids. You know, I got to remind them that the world did exist before 2000. And every time they get out of line, I was going to say, you know, my record's 42 years old, so you can't talk to me like that. But I want to thank you. I want to thank you for this opportunity. Just a kid that never thought I'd mount out to much of anything as an athlete. And I've been able to travel the world and meet incredible people in and out of sports, people that inspired me and still inspire me. But at the end, I guess the greatest thing is that I'm back in the place where we're all together. And Dad, I'm proud that people say that I'm just like you. Thank you.
From Saitama, Japan to Beverly Hills, California, our next inductee has influenced the way the world eats. Chef Nobuyuki Matsuhisa began his acclaimed career as a classically trained sushi chef in Tokyo. But after that, his path was anything but linear. He left home and opened a restaurant in Peru, then moved to Argentina, back to Japan, then to Alaska, and finally to Los Angeles, the city that would become his home. Guided by a variety of cultures and their unique ingredients, Chef Nobu created something entirely one of a kind. His is the California story where culture, innovation, and passion come together. In 1987, he opened Matsuhisa in Beverly Hills, where he paired unique creations like black cod with miso and yellowtail with jalapeno. These flavors emerged to what's now known as Nobu style, which we all get to taste later tonight. Matsuhisa quickly became a magnet for food lovers and artists alike, and it was here that Chef Nobu formed a lasting partnership with Robert De Niro. Together, they opened the acclaimed Nobu in 1994. From there, a global phenomena was born. Today, spanning 5 continents, there are 11 Matsuhisa locations and 58 Nobu restaurants and hotels. The accolades followed: Michelin stars, James Beard honors, and international awards from Japan to Peru. But what truly sets Chef Nobu apart is his guiding philosophy of kokoro, or cooking from the heart, and his conviction that food can be a bridge to community. California is proud to have been the place where Chef Nobu's vision took flight, uniting people across cultures for many years to come. Please join us in honoring the esteemed Chef Nobu Matsuhisa.
Thank you. So, a little nervous today, so because it's I am deeply honored to be here tonight, to be inducted into the California Hall of Fame, to stand among so many inspiring peoples who have shaped this state and its future is truly humbling. It's more than 40 years ago, I came to the United States from Japan to achieve my dreams. California, especially Los Angeles, welcomed me with opportunity, give me the place to call home. Thank you, the governor and first partners, for this incredible recognitions. To the peoples of California, thank you for believing in me and supporting my dreams. You made this journey possible. I urge you not to be standing here tonight without the support of those closest to me. To my wife, Yoko, thank you for trusting me and believing in me. I urge you not to be here today without you. I am proud to be a Californian and committed to giving back to a state that has given me so much. Thank you for this incredible honor. I am humbled, deeply grateful, and more inspired than ever. ありがとうございます。
Oh, we're so lucky to have all these incredible Californians. Wow. Woo! These beautiful humans. So inspiring. So I'm so honored and humbled to present our next inductees, members of the first all-women mariachi ensemble in the United States, Mariachi Reina de Los Angeles. Inspired to empower young women in the Mariachi Heritage Society, musician and maestro Jose Hernandez created Mariachi Reina. At a time when mariachi and most industries were overwhelmingly male-dominated, Mariachi Reina made history as the first all-women mariachi group signed to a major record label. Their debut album, Solo Tuya, was a musical milestone. And with each album since, including the Grammy and Latin Grammy nominated Compañeras and their 30th anniversary release, Alma de Reina, they expanded what excellence in this genre looks and sounds like. Mariachi Reina performed on the world's greatest stages, collaborated across cultures, and contributed to film, television, and the Smithsonian Folkways Traditions series. But perhaps their most enduring achievement cannot be measured in awards or accolades. Instead, it is measured in classrooms across Los Angeles, where founding members Cynthia Reifler Flores and Patricia Martin now mentor the next generation of young musicians. It is measured in the legacy carried forward by Crystal Hernandez, daughter of Maestro Jose, who recently joined Mariachi Reina, carrying on her family's multi-generational legacy, mariachi tradition and legacy. And it is measured in the young women across the Golden State and frankly around the world who see themselves in all of you. Mariachi Reina broke barriers and redefined who leads and who belongs, especially in the arts. And we get to hear a little taste from them tonight. So you gotta stay for the after party. So on behalf of California, we celebrate the remarkable Mariachi Reina de Los Angeles. We thank you, and we thank all of you for sharing your voices and uplifting generations of women and girls. Will all of the Mariachi Reinas please stand, and let's give them a round of applause.
Thank you so much to Governor Newsom, his first partner Jennifer, the California Hall of Fame, and the California Museum for this amazing recognition. Thank you so much. It is such an honor to be up here representing women, powerful women, all around the world, especially women in mariachi music, La Mujer Mexicana. And thank you. It has been every single person here that you see in bright pink. And these, my two compañeras next to me, our dream to be a part of this group. Thank you so much to my father who founded this group in 1994. Without his work and the work of these women right next to me, the original members of Mariachi Reina de Los Angeles, they've been trailblazers for women within the mariachi genre. It would not have been possible for us to be up here and representing our culture with pride and representing Los Angeles, which is where this dream and this group originated from. We are so proud to be here. Thank you so much for this honor, and we hope you enjoy our performance later. Thank you.
¡Que viva la mujer! ¡Que viva! Born and raised in the City of Angels, our next inductee has spent nearly 5 decades bringing authenticity to an industry that's often built on illusion. With her signature candor and humor, Jamie Lee Curtis has been a role model for generations, making it easier to talk about the hard things in life. From championing self-acceptance and challenging unrealistic beauty standards to speaking openly about recovery, Jamie Lee reminds us that vulnerability and connection are at the heart of our humanity. That same fearless spirit helped shape a remarkable Hollywood career, earning her an Academy Award, a SAG Award, a British Academy Film Award, an Emmy, multiple Golden Globes, nominations. I mean, who knows? I don't know. Everything. You've won everything. Since her breakout in the 1978 horror classic Halloween to the comedy, to the comedies A Fish Called Wanda and Trading Places, to the action film True Lies, Jamie Lee has moved effortlessly across genres. And between sitting on the back of Chad Michael Murray's motorcycle in Freaky Friday, to her Oscar-winning role in Everything Everywhere at Once, all at once, Jamie Lee has graced our screens with wit, comedic timing, and authenticity. But of course, Jamie Lee's impact stretches beyond the screen. For more than 2 decades, she's been an advocate and philanthropist, having created My Hand Is Yours, a charitable organization that in 5 years raised nearly $2 million to benefit Children's Hospital, Los Angeles. And as if that wasn't enough, she's also a New York Times bestselling children's author with 13, 16, we were unsure, something like that. Heartfelt books for young readers. There's a new one out now, too. And one of our family's favorites is I'm Gonna Like Me. Jamie, thank you so much for helping children understand their feelings and the importance of believing in oneself. We are so thrilled to honor the luminary, the one and only Jamie Lee Curtis, as part of the 19th California Hall of Fame class.
God bless you. Wow. Hi, everybody. My name is Jamie Lee Curtis, and I am born and raised, as our first partner said, in the City of Angels, a City of Angels represented here on this stage tonight in a glorious display. I mean, come on. I mean, what an example. I mean, I know the state's big, but you know, and it is a great state. It isn't the American dream, it's the California dream is represented here. California dream is represented in each of these individuals. I am standing here as a child of great privilege. I was raised in privilege. I was educated in Los Angeles by my parents who were not. My parents had no opportunities at all. My mother was Jeanette Helen Morrison from Merced, California. My father was Bernard Schwartz from the Bronx. And he became Tony Curtis, and she became Janet Lee. And this state and the city of Los Angeles and the entertainment business gave them an opportunity to change their lives, and in changing their lives, changing the world with their art. That's what the California dream is. California dream are my parents. I am only here because of their dreams. I'm sentimental. I know I say a lot. I didn't say it. John Burton, I know you. John Burton is willing me to say it, and I am not going to, because this is being live streamed, and I was raised well. But I am sentimental for a girl who kind of seems like nothing matters, because that's sort of my thing, you know. I kind of walk through the day going like, yeah, whatever. But the truth is, I'm deeply sentimental. I'm deeply emotional. I'm wearing the ring that my mother was given by my dad. I'm wearing the pearls from my godparents, Lou and Edie Wasserman. I am the only reason I am here is because of 1984. In 1984, I saw a guy in a photograph of a man in a magazine. In April of 1984, I saw a picture of a guy in a magazine and said to a girlfriend of mine, I'm going to marry him. I married him. I actually called and left my number with his agent, and he didn't call me. And then I literally, it was the summer of the '84 Olympics, and I ended up going into a restaurant, and he was sitting about as far away as you are. He looked at me and he went like this, because I had left my number, and I looked at him and went, and then he got up to leave, and he didn't say anything, and he stood there and he went like this. And I went like this. And he left, but he called me the next day. That was June 28th, 1984, and we got married December 18th, 1984. 1984 looms large in my life. We got married at the home of Rob Reiner, my beautiful friend. My beautiful friend. We got married at his house a rainy December 18th. And both of our children are raised in California. Both of my children live in California. Both of my children got married in my backyard. I'm a Cali girl. I love California. I love my family. I love the life that we get. I love the diversity of our state. I love the creativity of our state. I love the topography of our state. I literally planned none of this. Here's what I'm gonna, as you can kind of tell, but I am deeply sentimental. Because we have to be. We have to be, because life is so hard for so many people, and we have to stay connected to our hearts. We have to, because of your example, we have to. And if we do that, I do believe, what was it, half a map with one eye closed? I mean, we have so much more we need to do as a people. And I believe we can do it. I really do. But we have to have love in our hearts. So I'm going to just tell you this at the end of this. So when I say I was educated in California, I can spell California. And, you know, I jumped around schools. I'm sure I have something, who knows what I have. But I barely crawled out of high school. I literally barely. But at one point, I ended up at a prep school in Connecticut, where I graduated, Choate, which is a, excuse me, you know, whatever. I mean, it's a lovely school, and they had no reason at all to take me, and my whatever. So I was away from home for a year, my senior year of high school, at a boarding school in Connecticut. And I used to play Joni Mitchell. And I used to play California over and over and over again. And when she would say, California, I'm coming home, I would weep and miss my home and my family. And so, California, you've brought me home in a really beautiful way, in an unexpected way. And I'm deeply moved. And I'm so grateful to the governor and his partner for this incredible moment in my life. God bless you all. Thank you.
So beautiful. That was so beautiful. So tonight, as we induct former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think it's fitting that we bring my production assistant, Gavin Newsom, up here to share some remarks.
Production assistant. I appreciate it.
Well, I wish we just ended it right there with Jamie Lee. That was, we got our new Visit California commercial, which I hope we teed that up. California love. Spirit, pride. Open remarks. Spirit, pride. And that defines all of the honorees and their contribution to our remarkable state. You know, we talk about our state being a state of dreamers, doers, entrepreneurs, innovators, but it is a point that Jamie Lee made point. There is no other state, size, scope, and scale, majority, minority state, 27% of the state foreign-born. We practice pluralism. That's a word you never hear about much anymore. We don't tolerate our diversity, we celebrate our diversity. And again, that's a point of pride, and it's a point of consideration as I briefly introduce the 38th governor of the state of California. He's a personification of so many respects what is defined as Californian immigration and entrepreneurialism. 5 decades of excellence, singular in every way, shape, or form. Arnold Schwarzenegger is now one of a million. He's one of one. As the old, said in the past that, only an ex-mayor of San Francisco can quote Jerry Garcia of the Grateful Dead. But he said, you don't want to be the best of the best. You don't want to be the best of the best. You want to be the only one that does what you do. And that's a wonderful way to describe someone who came here with 20 bucks in his pocket, a scrawny little kid with an interesting accent, and came here in pursuit of his dream to be the best of the best as a bodybuilder. You'd think it would end there, redefining that class. Then, once again, pursuing an acting career. You'd think that would go the wayside. A cameo here or there. The highest paid actor in Hollywood, one of the most well-known, most famous actors, not just in Hollywood, in the globe. You'd think it would end there. You forgot all the while he's making investments in real estate, in business. Turns out he's an extraordinary entrepreneur. But then says, you know what? There's this gig opening up, maybe. We all totally recall that. And he decided to get the best job in America, governor of the great state of California. And what an extraordinary thing that is. His first job, it took me 30 years. I had to serve in the Parking and Traffic Commission first. This guy just, governor of California. And you see in the picture right here, it's interesting, that photo, California's leadership ending global warming. The fact that today, bookmark for me, I was with the Attorney General, and we were announcing a lawsuit against the federal administration on what they refer to as the endangerment finding. Basically, the architecture that allows us to regulate tailpipe emissions, power plants, methane, carbon dioxide. They've eliminated it at the EPA. The only thing standing is the bill that Arnold signed right there, AB 32, that allows California to set its own standards. A remarkable career of excellence, singular in every respect. And in respect to his legacy, I will remind you what you may already know. It was his idea and Maria's idea to start this in 2006. And while Arnold may not have had himself in mind, it would be unimaginable if we didn't have him in mind for this, the 19th class, the great Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Man, I'm all pumped up. But not just my body. I'm pumped up here. I mean, the very fact to be inducted in the California Hall of Fame, I mean, that really pumps me up. And I just want to say thank you to Governor Newsom and to his wonderful wife and First Lady, and for his entire team for inducting me into the California Hall of Fame. I'm so sorry that I couldn't be there tonight, but I'm working, and it's a schedule that we scheduled weeks ago. And but I hope that Governor Newsom is kind enough to kind of receive the award on my behalf. It's a great honor to get that award, and you all have a good time. Hasta la vista.
So thank you again to everyone who made this event possible. Thank you to my first partner team, to Protocol and Becca Prouda's team, to Advance, to Communications, and to our lovely volunteers. Thank you to the California Museum staff and board, especially to the museum's fantastic leadership and executive director, Amanda Meeker. Amanda, we are going to miss you so much. Alongside board chair Anne Marie Petrie and vice chairs Kristen Soares, Chris Kahn, and Dina Ruiz. Thank you all so much. And of course, we want to thank all of our inductees, past and present, for continuing to inspire us all. This has been a remarkable night. We are so, so elated that you all could be here with us. And I'm going to ask Kenny, any further words?
Well, no, I just think we all have a reservation at Nobu right next door.
So let's go get your dancing shoes on. I hope you're hungry and thirsty, and let's go celebrate and all of these incredible inductees.